You ever wonder why some business ideas just create this massive buzz, while most of them, well, they just get ignored? It's not luck, you know. There's actually a science to it. And today, we're going to break down the playbook for marketing that people literally can't stop talking about.
So, let me start by asking you a question. Would you, personally, pay £50 for a Sunday roast? I mean, come on, it would have to be pretty incredible, right? We're talking Wagyu beef, truffle-infused gravy. Your first gut reaction is probably, absolutely not. No way.
And that is the whole secret. You probably wouldn't pull out your wallet for it, but you would absolutely tell your friends about it. You'd tell your family, you might even snap a picture and post it online. So the real point here isn't the sale of the roast itself, it's the conversation it sparks. That's the heart and soul of viral marketing.
Okay, so to really get why an idea like a 50-pound roast works, we first have to talk about what doesn't work. Let's dive into the trap of what I like to call invisible marketing. All that stuff businesses spend time and money on, only to be completely and totally ignored.
I'm sure this playbook looks pretty familiar. You know the drill. Most businesses, they'll stick a poster in the window, maybe create a Facebook event that, let's be honest, gets 0 shares, and they'll put an A-board out on the pavement. And what's the result? It's always the same thing. Dead Tuesdays, events that fall flat, and this endless cycle of putting in effort for almost nothing in return.
And here's the fundamental truth of it all. A poster, it just sits there, it has no legs, it doesn't travel from one person to the next. But a great story? Oh, a story is built to be shared. It is, by far, the most powerful marketing tool you have.
All right, so if stories are the solution, we've got to understand why we share them in the first place. It's not random. There's some deep psychology behind what makes an idea contagious, and getting a handle on that is the key to creating buzz on purpose.
And the numbers on this are just staggering. I mean, look at this. Research shows that anywhere from 20 to 50% of all buying decisions are driven by word of mouth. A recommendation from a friend isn't just a nice little bonus. It's often way more effective than a paid ad. This is a huge, huge driver of how we all behave as consumers.
So, why do we share? Well, a massive part of it comes down to this really cool concept, social currency. Basically, we share things that make us look good. When you tell someone about a secret bar with a password-only cocktail, or, yeah, a 50-pound roast, you're not just sharing info, you're sharing how clever and in the know you are. You're actually gaining a bit of social status.
Now, this idea of social currency is just one piece of a really powerful framework called STEPS, which was developed by author Jonah Berger. It breaks down the 6 key ingredients that make pretty much any idea contagious. Our 50-pound roast, for example, it hits on a bunch of these. It has social currency, it triggers an emotion, usually surprise or disbelief, and it makes for a great story. Understanding this whole framework is kind of like having a recipe for going viral.
Okay, enough with the theory. Let's look at how this all works in the real world, right? Here are a few absolutely brilliant case studies of businesses that stopped making posters and started creating incredible stories.
Let's check some of these out. So there was a steakhouse in Philadelphia that created a $100 cheesesteak. The story of this absurdly over-the-top sandwich got them thousands of dollars in free PR. Or what about the pubs serving roasts inside these giant, comically oversized Yorkshire puddings? You just couldn't help but take a picture, and boom, their bookings went through the roof. My personal favorite, though, a pub in London that flipped karaoke on its head. They rewarded the worst singer. The place was packed every night, and you better believe it went viral on TikTok.
So, what do all these brilliant ideas have in common? Well, they all follow a pretty simple 3-part formula. First, the idea has to be remarkable. It's so unusual that people just can't help but talk about it. Second, it's relatable. It's a clever twist on something we already know and understand, like a roast dinner or karaoke. And finally, it's repeatable. The story is so simple you can retell it in a single sentence.
And this all brings us to a really fundamental choice every single business has to make. You can either join the race to the bottom, competing on price, putting out cheap deals that are easily copied and ultimately totally ignored. Or you can choose to create a story, something unique, something memorable, something that is built from the ground up to be shared. One path leads to being forgotten, the other one leads to becoming a local legend.
So, the big question is, how do you actually do this? It might seem a little daunting, but trust me, it's not. Here is a simple 4-step playbook that pretty much any business can use to start creating its own contagious marketing.
It really is this straightforward. Step 1, pick just one bold, remarkable idea.
Don't try to do 5 things at once, just focus on one. Step 2, launch it loudly. Treat it like a big event, give it some fanfare, some hype. Step 3, bake word of mouth right into the idea itself. Create a great photo op or a really funny sign. And finally, step 4, track what works. See what people are actually sharing and double down on that.
At the end of the day, the choice is pretty simple. You can spend a fortune on ads that people are trained to ignore, or you can create one remarkable idea that your customers will spread for you for free. Because the reach of a great story will always outrun the reach of a paid ad. So, I'm going to leave you with this challenge. Don't think about what poster you're going to design next week. Instead, just ask yourself this one question. What is the one remarkable story, the one 50-pound roast that your customers could start telling about you tomorrow? Because that's where the real growth begins.